Every masterpiece has its cheap copy, and with the explosion of extraction looters, it would be hard to ignore a fairly new entry into the genre, Expedition Agartha. By the way, the name of this game is ridiculous, so I'm going to be giving it a different name every time I reference it. I found out about this game on the Dark and Darker subreddit, where someone, who definitely isn't a dev, posted about how much fun it is. So with it going free to play recently, I figured I'd give it a try, and that's what I did. After I created my character and made peace with the fact that games never include Latino people in their customization options, I hopped right into an extremely long tutorial. One where I fisted some dudes, cooked some rice, and cosplayed as the last bottom at an orgy. Fuck, I actually died. From there, I was able to give it a real try. I accidentally picked a gladiator-style game mode for my first attempt at Expedited Agartha. It felt like a unique twist on the genre, where you spawn into a small area, get some loot, and after a certain amount of time, the gates drop and you're forced to fight your neighbor. I won, of course, because of my great game sense and accuracy. And was rewarded with what I would soon find to be a rarity in this game, an actual human person.
Yo, come over here.
Oh my god,
Take this.
Wait, you're a real person?
Yeah. Here, take this. Come close.
I mean, this is about as close as I can get, man. And then he tried to betray me. Wow, that's so rude. So I pushed on and prepared myself for round 2, this time with a more Quaker-like approach, and decided not to swing at the guy even once. I'm not sure if this was a bug, game design, or the inevitability of death slowly grasping at my motor functions, reminding me I don't have the reflexes of a 16-year-old anymore. Either way, I lost, and was banished to my watery grave. A yacht. Jeff Bezos who? Get in line, Baldy, because there's a new boss in town, and his name is... I won't lie, I was very confused when I first loaded in. Okay, there's guns in this game. Wait, there's fireworks. Like a drunk cop on New Year's Eve, there seemed to be someone firing a gun in the distance. Regardless, I trucked on and fought my way through a few tanky enemies, finding what would soon be my op crutch in this game, the humble kunai knife. Ayaya, weaves in. Anyway, I followed the smokestack, hoping it would lead me to an extract. That's where I found someone who I thought was a friendly, but turned out to be an AI. And he brought a friend. So I killed them both, anime style, and continued on my journey. Okay. That smoke led me to a giant fight, consisting of more AI and, coincidentally, a giant.
Bring me that loot!
So I retreated and looked for help from my new friend, this rabbit. He was of no use, but his company was comforting enough, and I enjoyed the walk cycle. I eventually found the extract and was rewarded with a whole lot of nothing. I tried my luck with a few more raids, this time careful to pick up the quest item I needed to enter the next island. Overall, this was a fun experience, and something you don't get in these types of extraction looters. As far as I know, there aren't a lot that have this sort of prerequisite, and I'm kinda surprised. Unfortunately, as I alluded to before, I didn't stumble into any other real people in my matches. Even with 11 other people supposedly joining the raid, it felt more like PvE than anything, which would have been fun if the PvE was anything more exciting than just slashing, backstepping, and blocking. Even the parry system seemed to be a fun addition to combat, but I could never land it. Instead, every enemy I went up against seemed to be 1,000 hours deep into the game and able to perfectly parry like a Cuphead expert. Overall, this game has a lot of interesting mechanics in it, whether that's the Dark Souls backstep, armor enchanting, cooking, questing, actually meaningful in-raid loot. I can't help feeling like there's a lot of wasted potential. I mean, you have aspects of several really good games wrapped into one, and yet the game has peaked with 400 players on Steam. And sure, there's a lot of problems with it. Enemies get stuck in the geometry constantly. The ones that don't can be easily kited unless they have a crossbow, which then gives them laser-like precision. Maybe there's too much loot. Maybe there's too much going on, which could make your average player feel overwhelmed with all the choices. But I think that's a good thing, if only it's implemented in a more polished game. Could that be Expedition Agartha? Absolutely, in time though. This game came out last year, and it wasn't until March of 2023 that it went free to play. I can't help but feel that Dark and Darker, which has less and hasn't been open to the public as long, does a lot of these things better. The clunkiness here feels like a result of poor design. whereas Dark and Darkers feels like a choice, or at least something that gives the game character. But Dark and Darker gives a much more simplified and rewarding experience for players. I have no doubt this game could be huge, or even at the least fun to play, but right now it feels too early access for early access. I look forward to seeing what the devs cook up, but in the meantime, I'm gonna give it a pass.